All right. Hey, everyone. Give me just a couple seconds. Let me get a few things settled on my end, and we'll make sure that we are recording. So you get a copy. Okay, I think we are good to go. So thank you all for being here. My name is Kimberly Polita, and I am the Customer Education Specialist here at Jotform. Now, if you've ever been to our YouTube channel or any of our help articles, you may have seen me before. I shoot a lot of our tutorial videos, and I'm coming to you from Houston, Texas area in the United States. Now, this Jotform 101 webinar is offered ongoing so that people who are new to Jotform, and there are thousands of people who join Jotform every single day, you have the opportunity to learn more about the platform. So again, thank you for being here with us and everyone. Now, the goal today is to go broad, but not super deep. But I do have a lot of additional resources for you that are going to allow you to dive deeper, and we'll cover that at the end. So sit tight for that. But let's go ahead and jump in. So here is our agenda. I have a couple of minutes of slides here at the beginning, but the majority of our session today is going to be in a demo. Now, in the demo, we're going to cover three things: how to get around Jotform, how to create and edit forms within the builder, and then the different ways that you can access your data. Now, we are going to have some time for Q&A at the end. However, if you have questions as I'm sharing, feel free to ask them at any time in that Q&A box. I think it's down in the bottom of your screen. We do have someone monitoring the Q&A, but I will also go back during the exclusive Q&A piece at the end to physically show anything that I can. Now, before we jump into our demo, I do want to talk about the benefits and products within Jotform. And I'm starting here because more than likely, if you're new to Jotform, you either signed up for a free account mostly because you had to get a form up and running really quick, and you really didn't know that there's a lot of other things within Jotform that it can do. So I wanted to cover those here in these slides. Now, I'm starting with some of our users' favorite benefits of the platform. Now, I do find that some of these people who've been using Jotform for a long time aren't even aware of some of these things. So first, Jotform is incredibly easy to use, even if you have zero coding experience. Anything built in our system will be built using drag and drop or clicking buttons. It really is easy to build and customize your forms and any other workflows that you're creating within Jotform. Now, on a related note, anything I'm showing you here today is included with your account, no matter which account level you have. I'll be using a free account for our demo. Now, I'll be showing you all the products that you're going to see on the next slide as well. Now, the limitations you'll see will be based on the number of forms that you can create and the number of submissions that you can receive. But again, we're not charging any additional fees for any part of the service, and that includes regular and our payment integrations. Now, if you want to use Jotform to accept payments, you will have to pay your payment gateway, but we're not going to be charging you anything addition to that. Now, speaking of flexibility and workflows, because Jotform is extremely flexible, it can help you digitize your paperwork that you already have and bring a lot of those processes online too. So everything that happens after someone fills out a form. Now, it's customizable, it's easy to use. There are also multiple ways that you can use the system and that you can start a process. Now, that means you can stop spending money on paper, on printer ink, and you're also going to save time because you're not having to track down people to manually sign something. Now, there are a number of different ways that you can build those sorts of things directly into what you're doing with Jotform. Now, with regards to your data that you get when someone submits a form, all of your data is going to stay in Jotform unless you delete it. You can easily use that data in multiple different ways within the system, and I'll touch on that some during our demo. But if you do need to pull that data out of Jotform for any reason, or if you want to share it with another platform, there are a ton of different ways that you can do that, as well as through tons of different integration options. Now, finally, we have all the standard data security protection protocols in place within our system. And if that is something you're interested in learning more about, you can read more at jotform.com/security. Now, next, let's look at our products. So you're probably most familiar with our form builder. And again, it's our flagship product, and it's probably why 99% of people sign up for a Jotform account. But in addition to our form builder, we have a list of products that you can see here, making it a workflow management tool. Now, Jotform Sign is our e-signature platform that you can use to collect one or multiple signatures. We also have Jotform workflows that you can add to any form to add automation to your process. You can seamlessly get data to other people and respond to it without manual intervention. Now, with regards to your data, we have tables, report builder, inbox, and PDF builder. Now, tables and report builder are going to give you a good sense of your aggregate data. So all of your responses are in a single spot. Inbox and PDF builder give you ways to focus on individual responses. Now, I'm going to be showing you all of this in our demo as well. And finally, last on the list here is apps. This gives you an easy way to collect and share multiple different forms and other information in a single place. So rather than sending someone, maybe a new client, 4 different links to fill out something, you can send them one link to the app, and that app has everything for them. Super easy to build and super easy to use. All right, so we'll have some other resources again at the end, but at this point, I'm going to go ahead and jump out and into our demo and show you around. I'm going to go ahead and stop my video so that way my face isn't in any way covering anything while we're doing the demo, and I'll come back on screen at the end for our Q&A. Now, 3 things I want to cover in our demo. First is going to be talking about page orientation and how to get around the system. Then we'll look at how to create and edit forms in the form builder. And then the last thing we'll look at is all of those different ways to access your data. Starting with My Forms, this is what you see when you log into Jotform. I'm starting here for a number of reasons. So first, again, it's the first thing you're going to see when you log into the system. So it's important to know what you're looking at. But also, Forms is where you're going to start for most of your Jotform workflows. And it's easy to understand site navigation for all of the other products and how to create and edit the other products if you understand My Forms in the form builder. So first, let's talk about the orientation to this page. In the center of the page are all of my active forms. Those are any forms that I've created and haven't subsequently deleted or archived. And you can see as I hover over them that I have some links here of what I can do with the form, including under the More menu, the full list. So that's everything from assigning this form to somebody, to turning it into an app, to looking at data in tables, to viewing or editing the form. All of that is available right here. On the left-hand side in the gray section is form organization. So by default at the bottom, you'll see favorites, archive, and trash. Anything you delete is going to stay in trash unless you permanently delete it or enable auto deletion. So if you accidentally delete something, you should be able to retrieve it fairly simply. Now you can also add additional folders right here with Create Folder. So if you want to organize your forms, you have options there. Also, if anybody assigns you a form, you'll see it here as well. So again, all of your form organization is right here on the left. Above that is the Create Form button that will bring you to a page with a number of options to create a form. We'll come back to that in a little bit, but before we do, I want to talk about the navy header at the top. This is your general platform navigation. So first is the Jotform logo. If you click on that, it's going to bring you back to the page wherever you are in the system. It's an easy reset. Next to that, it says My Forms. So that lets you know we're on the My Forms landing page, but you can use this as a dropdown to navigate to other landing pages for any of the other products. So for example, if you'd like to use our e-signature tool, Jotform Sign, you can click on the My Sign documents here, and you'll see a page that looks just like this. But instead of creating a form and viewing forms, you'll be able to create and view your signed documents. Over here, we have a number of resources and other things to have at hand at any time. First, the full template gallery. We have templates for all of our products. So regardless of what you're doing in Jotform, there is a template. So you don't have to start from scratch if you don't want to. Next, you can see our full list of integrations. We have some highlights, and then you can see the full list with 100+ integrations. For any of these, you can click on the integration name. You'll see more information about what that integration does and can add it to forms from there. Very similar to that, you can see our list of products here. So any of these links will take you to the product landing pages, which explains the product and has some additional resources as well. And then we have some highlights over here. Next, support of any kind you can find right here. So that includes contacting our 24/7 online support. They're usually responsive within an hour. Or if you want to do some independent learning, we have our user guides. We have full-fledged books about the platform. We have our Jotform Academy blog and other videos. We have a ton of different resources for you, so you can find all of those linked up here. Finally, enterprise and pricing here gives you some more information about additional plans. So if you want to upgrade your account at any time, you can find more information there. The last thing here is your avatar, which if you click on it, you will get to your settings menu. Settings is all of your account settings. Now, I'm not going to go through all of this, but a few highlights here. Again, there's a lot of security built into the platform, but if you want to see what is enabled by default or add additional security, you can do that from here. On the history tab, you can see a record of everything that's happening in your account. So that gives you that extra bit of assurance that no one is accessing your account without your knowledge. Usage is another really useful tab. So again, I'm using the free account here, which means I'm limited to 5 total forms. And you can see here that I'm at 4 out of 5. I can see how close I am to hitting my limits at any time. So it's a good place to go to monitor everything. All right, I'm going to click on that Jotform logo to bring us back to our My Forms page. So that covers everything about our overall orientation to the site. So again, just a quick recap, we have active forms here, create new forms up here in the top left, and then you can navigate to the other landing pages from here. Now, let's talk about the form builder. So first things first, we will look at creating a form, and you can do that by hitting the Create Form button. And here you see a number of different ways that you can get started. You can start from scratch, so that gives you a completely blank slate that you can build from the ground up. You can use one of these templates I mentioned. So Form Templates is our most extensive template library. We have over 10,000 templates available. And as you can see here, you can search through all of them, or you can narrow it down by type of form. So if you need payment forms, for example, or by industry or profession or language, those are a couple of different ways that you can narrow things down. When you see something that seems like a good fit, you can click on it to view that form in its entirety. You can view more about what's included in that form and how to use it. And then you can hit the Use Template button that will clone a copy of it into your account. And from there, you can edit it however you see fit and make it your own. That includes customizing the colors, customizing the fields, adding conditional logic, etc. Next, here on the Create Form page, we have the option to import a form with 3 different ways to do that. So if you do have a PDF of a form and you want to bring that into Jotform, you can do that here. You can also do that from a web page, so a form that exists on a web page somewhere, or if you have a friend or colleague who utilizes Jotform, you can pull that in here as well. You can also clone a form here once you have forms in your account, which makes it really easy to get a new form ready in a matter of seconds. So for example, you may have noticed that we use Jotform for our webinar registration. Basically, every time we have a new webinar, we go in and clone the last registration form, change the title, change the date, and we're ready to go again in a matter of seconds. The last option here is creating a signable document. So that is our e-signature tool. Again, you can also do that from the drop-down menu in the My Forms page here. So those are your ways to get started. For now, I'm going to go ahead and pull up a form that's already in progress to walk you through the form builder. So let's go ahead and pull up this HIPAA waiver form, and I'm going to hit Edit Form to bring that form up into the builder. So here we have that HIPAA waiver form, and this is based on one of our templates. So with regards to design, you have your form design options over here on the right-hand side. You can choose default colors or apply your own. So you can pick anything on this list here. You can change the font sizing, font spacing, etc. under styles. On the theme tab, you can add a background, and there's also a layout tab where you can switch to card form. So we have 2 different versions of forms available. I'm showing you our classic form, and that's all of our questions on one page or at one glance. But we do also offer card forms, which is each question on its own page. You'll want to use different forms for different purposes. If you want to play around with that and see what makes the most sense for you, you can absolutely do that from here. If you do switch to card forms and decide it's not the right fit, you can always come back to this exact same place in the layout tab and choose to switch back to the classic form. Now, on the left-hand side of the page is where we have all of our form fields, all of the elements, the things that people will fill out. So for that, we'll click on the Add Form Element toolbar. And here there are 3 tabs: Basic, Payments, and Widgets. Basic fields are the ones that you typically expect to see on a form. So think every field on this form, for example, is a basic field. So email, name, phone number, another email, multiple choice. We have a short text field here, and we have a signature field. Those are all, again, basic fields and things you would expect to see on a form. Now, there's also widgets. So if you want anything else, you need something specialized for your region or your discipline or something that's a little bit more interactive, you will find those things in our extensive widgets library. You can see as I scroll through that there, I think conservatively speaking, is a few hundred options of widgets that you can add. So for example, down at the very bottom, if you want to add the states of Germany, or if you want to add an option for people to use your form to take photos, or add maps of multiple different types or timers of multiple different types, all of those can be found under widgets. And finally, that middle option here is our payments. So if you're creating a payment form, you'll find all of your payment gateway options here. Again, you will pay your payment gateway, whatever the fee they require, but you're not going to pay Jotform anything extra to use them. All you need to do is add your payment gateway, sign into your account, allow both accounts to interact, and you're ready to start collecting payments, selling your products, subscriptions, or collecting donations. To add any of these to your form, whether it's basic, payment, or widgets, all you need to do is either click or drag and drop. So let's go ahead and add in another email field here, for example. And you can see I've done that just by dragging and dropping it into the form where I want it. Now, if you click, it'll appear wherever your cursor happens to be on the form. Now, if you need to move anything around, you can do it the same way. Just drag and drop wherever you want it to appear. But you can see as I'm clicking on this field, there are two other options here as well. So if you decide that multiple email fields seems a bit excessive, you can go ahead and hit that trash can icon and delete it. In addition to that, there are settings or properties for each field as well. So each field will have its own properties menu. There are some consistencies here, like you can require any field from here. So that's what you see here. You can change alignment, you can rename the fields, you can add sublabels, but then you'll see some things unique to specific fields. So for example, the name field, you can ask for a middle name. All right, I think that's everything I wanted to cover within the Build tab. So you can see up at the top, the orange tabs, we're in the first tab, which again is Build. So Build is where you're going to create the form itself, anything external facing, the fields, your design, all on the Build tab. Next, we have the Settings tab, and this is where things happen more behind the scenes with your form. So some of those workflows I mentioned, you can create within Settings. So we have general form settings, and here it's a pretty extensive list. And by default, forms are set up according to best practices, but you'll see that some are enabled by default and you can disable and vice versa. So it's worth giving this a look just to see what's available and what kind of settings are there and make any changes as needed. Next on the list are emails. So when someone submits your form, they will first see a thank you page, and they will also receive an email by default if you have an email field. You can customize both of those, and these are great ways to interact with people after they've submitted your form. So if you want to direct them to your web page or get them to fill out another form or get them to refer a friend, use these pages to customize whatever that message is going to be. Next, you can see the thank you pages here. We have an editor where you can change the text, you can change the design, you can say someone will be with you shortly. You can remove the icon that's there and you can replace it with your own brand image. All kinds of different options here. So again, emails as well as thank you pages can be completely customized. Now, with regards to the workflows that I talked about a little bit at the beginning, I mentioned approval flows. So that's what you're seeing here. You can build an approval workflow into any form. By default, there is not an approval workflow in place, but all you need to do is click Create Approval Flow. That will create a very basic approval flow for you. So what this is saying is someone submits your form. It's going to come to me as the account owner to approve it. If I approve, they get an email saying the request is approved. If I deny, they get an email saying the request has been denied. And from there, the process ends. Now, again, this is extremely basic, but all of what you see here can be customized. That includes customizing what the outcomes are, what the decisions are, who approvers are, adding additional layers of approval, sending to other forms as a result of a decision or signed documents. So you can fully customize this to, again, make some of that external workflow internal and make some of your forms work even harder for you. Now, related to workflows, we have conditional logic options here. So you can see a few in place here, but you can add a new condition to see all of the options. So this is everything from hiding a field based on a response to performing calculations to showing different thank you pages based on responses. Basically, you can customize someone's entire form experience based on a response they've given in the form. So for example, this is a HIPAA waiver. So it's a medical related form. So if you're asking somebody, do you take medication? And they answer no, it can completely skip the question that would logically come next, which is what medication do you take? They don't need to see that question since they responded that they don't take any medication. So this makes things easier on your users, which also in turn gets you better, more complete data. Now, conditional logic can be great to streamline some of what your users see, as well as what happens to your forms after the fact. Next up is integrations. So this is where you'll find integrations to share your form data with an external platform. Whether you want to send a PDF of data to your cloud storage or add new customers to your CRM or email marketing platform, all of those integrations can be added here. And there are over 100 of them. So if you click on any of these tiles, you'll see what the integration does, and then you can click to get started authenticating and adding that integration to your form. Finally, the last two things here apply to other Jotform products. So if you have a form that has a signature field like we do here, you can add Jotform sign functionality to that. So you can use Jotform sign by creating a signable PDF from scratch, or you can also build that into your forms. What that means is there's a little bit of extra protection on this form. So a person won't be able to edit their submission after it's been submitted. They'll need to give consent for their signature. And there will also be an audit trail attached to this form. So you have an extra layer of record keeping for you. Finally, we do have a mobile app for Jotform. So if you're using Jotform mobile apps, you can use Jotform even if you're offline. You can use it on the go. It's great for filling out a form if you're in the field. And if for any reason you don't have internet when you're using the mobile app, your data will be uploaded after you're back with an internet connection. If you do use the mobile app, you can customize your app notifications as well. So you can see here, I have this set. So if someone submits this form, I'm getting a notification or a pop-up on my phone letting me know that someone has submitted. Now, the last part of the form builder here is the Publish tab. This is where you're going to go to share the form. You can copy the link from here. You can invite people by email. You can share on social media, or you can use a QR code to share. All of your embed options are here also, and there are also some third-party specific embed options available. You can assign your form to someone to fill out. You can even pre-fill and pre-populate some data before you send it to somebody. So all of your share options for the form will be here under the Publish tab. So far, we've covered overall platform navigation in the form builder. We've looked at creating, editing, and sharing our form, including all of those settings. So the last thing that I want to talk about here in our demo is how to access everything else within Jotform. If you are within the form builder working on a form and you want to see the data that comes in for that form, you can access it in the same place from the drop-down menu. But instead of going to the landing pages, it's going to take you straight to the data for that form specifically. So we've been looking at the form builder so far, and I'm not going to show you view form. That just shows you what your form is going to look like to someone who's filling it out. But all of your data options are here. You can also access approvals from here. So if you want to build on that approval flow, you can do that from here as well. But next, let's look at data. So 4 ways that you can look at and use data within the platform is PDF editor, inbox, tables, and report builder. PDF editor and inbox are really useful for focusing on individual responses. Now, these all get created automatically when you create a form. So you don't have to do anything to create this PDF. When you click on that button, you will see something that's ready to be printed or saved as a PDF with all of your form fields, and then any form responses that have come in for this will be visible here. If you also have an approval workflow in place, you'll see that. And you can see this also includes signatures. Now, just like the form builder, if you want to customize in any way, you have a design on the right. So if you want to add any additional fields, you can do that from the left. And if you want to move or delete any of the fields, you can do that in the exact same way. Click on the fields, you'll see the trash can. This will duplicate that field, and then you'll see settings for that field as well. And again, you can move it just by dragging and dropping. So again, you can fully customize this. You can change the colors, you can add logos, remove whatever information you don't need, and add information you do need and want to share. PDFs can be really useful in a lot of different cases, but my 2 biggest examples that I usually go to are as a receipt. So if you are selling things on Jotform or if you're collecting donations, you can have this automatically sent to the person who gives you money as a receipt. Second would be for your own personal record keeping. So again, we're not deleting anything from Jotform. Your data, everything is in there unless you remove it. But if you want to have a backup, something up in the cloud storage, for example, you can also have these PDFs automatically sent to your cloud storage platform through integrations. So that way you'll have that permanent record keeping. All right, next let's jump over to Inbox. Inbox is a native email tool that is built into our system. This can save a lot of the trouble if you need to respond to someone or forward something. So instead of having to look up an email address and copy and paste the data that you have here, you can do it all directly from within Inbox within the system. You can also make comments from here. And also, again, if you have any approval workflow, you'll see actions taken for the submission as well. So here we can hit reply and reply to this person. We can say somebody will be in touch with you soon or whatever it is that you need to tell them. I could forward this here to someone on my team if I want them to follow up. I could download and print from here. You can also download and print those PDFs that we talked about as well. Regardless of where you are in the system, if you want to download something, you'll see those options in the top right. But again, I can make comments on here. So you can see down at the bottom, there is one comment down here, and I can even make individual comments on the individual fields, which you can see right here. Anything that you do with this form response from here in Inbox will appear in line. So whether that's a response or a forward or approval decision or a comment, all of those will appear here on the page. So again, it's a great workspace for you to be able to track what's going on with individual responses for whatever reason. All right, next, let's look at tables and report builder. So we're switching now, looking at data in aggregate. So your entire data set, tables, basically is a data set of all of your form responses. So once again, this gets created automatically when you create a form. Each column here is one of your form fields, and each row is a response. You can sort, filter, etc. Whatever you need to do here. You can download all, download single or multiple submissions. You can hide columns. We can also add columns. So if I scroll all the way to the right, there's an add option here. And from here, you can add columns that really help make this, again, a complete workflow management tool for you. So if you want to check people off of a list as you contact them, or you're making appointments on the phone after someone has submitted a request form and you want to add the date of their upcoming appointment, or even if you want to connect this to some other data they've given you and calculate something, you can do all of that from here. You also have sharing options, so sending this to an external site. Some other great features of tables is that it gives you a couple of different ways that you can view your data. So if you are creating an appointment form and you want to view a calendar view, you can create that here. We also have cards and uploads as well. Those give you a way to view your data more focused on individual responses. So a little bit more visibility into individual responses, as you can see, but you still have easy access to all of your responses from here. Now, that other option, uploads, is going to look very similar to this. This is cards. If you have something that someone is going to be uploading to their form, that will show the upload at the top. So for example, if you're doing a photo submission contest, that photo is going to appear at the top of each card. Finally, the last option here is reports. So this is our report builder product I mentioned. You can also get to reports from within that menu, or you can create from within tables. Now, reports within 30 seconds is going to create a full visual report of all your data that you can see in the table, and it updates automatically as submissions come in. So for each field here, you'll see a visual summary. So we have tables for the names of the patients. If I scroll a little bit further down, we see the type of healthcare records summarized in a pie chart. We can change what this looks like as well. There are settings for each slide. You can change the colors. You can change the type of chart that you're seeing. You can remove pages. You can add in additional things, notes, whatever you need. But by default, if you just need this, it takes 30 seconds to create. And you can preview this from here and present it as a slide deck. But you can also publish, so you'd be able to share this. And as with the other products, you can download from here as well. All right, going back up to the top here. So we've covered the form builder. We've talked about PDF editor, inbox tables, report builder, approvals. Form analytics, I'm not going to go into form analytics. It is a little bit different than everything else. So form analytics gives you data about your form. So that includes your conversion rate. So the percentage of the time people are completing your form, how long it took them to fill your form out, where they're coming from, what sort of devices they're using. So that can be really useful just for customizing your form based on what you're seeing from your people. Now, by default, the system is responsive to mobile, tablet, and desk views, and you can actually see what that looks like from within the form builder.
But if you're finding that people are exclusively accessing your form on mobile, you might want to shrink things down and make things a little bit more mobile friendly. Or if you find, for example, that half of your people who fill out your form are coming from Spain, but your forms are in English, you might want to offer a translation option. Now, the last option here is the app builder. So I mentioned app builder in the slides, and app builder is our tool that you can use to create an app that collects multiple forms into a single location, along with anything else that you might want someone to have access to from this app. So here we have a new client app for a therapy organization where they, again, have that HIPAA waiver form, and they also have an informed consent form. But just like everything else, I can add additional elements here on the left. I can add signed documents. I can add additional forms. I can add paragraph text to add some context here so they know what they're looking at. I can add links, maps. I can sell things or collect donations from the app, but all of those options are here on the left. And again, we also have some widgets here as well. Then again, just as with the form builder, we have design options on the right. So I can choose my own colors. I have layout options here as well. So again, this is really useful if there's any reason that you have multiple different things you're sending to people at once. This can help have everything be in one place to make things easier on everyone.
So that is everything I wanted to cover. Let me get back to our slides. And we can close out with some resources and then we can jump into our Q&A because I know you guys had some questions. Now, there are a number of resources that I could point you to, but I wanted to highlight some of the ones that I think are going to be best for brand new people. Again, assuming most of you, if not all of you watching, are very, very new to Jotform. I mentioned we have a number of books as well as a full product guide. Now, this ultimate guide to online forms is a full overview and not just how to use the form builder, but also including a number of different examples of how people are actually practically using our form builder. So it's going to give you some real life examples. So that is a fantastic resource for anyone learning more about the platform and everything you can do, and even helping you understand use cases that maybe you wouldn't have even thought of. Next, I want to highlight Jotform Academy. It has different lessons to learn more about the platform. So the first is just an introduction to Jotform as a platform. Then there is a full look into the form builder. Then you also get a data course, and you can get a badge for completing each of these courses or a certificate for completing all of them. It's about 4 hours in total if you do all. Now, if you're a visual learner, this also has examples, so it is another great resource. Now, if you are a video learner, but you don't want to commit to a full academy, or you have more specialized or specific questions about integrations or specific features, you can always go to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/thejotform. All of our tutorials are there, and they are typically 5 minutes or less on specific integrations, features, etc., plus all of our past webinars. I think at this point, we've done over 100 webinars that you can find there. You'll see video newsletters where we summarize the highlights for each month, but all of our video content is available there. Now, finally, as you go through anything within Jotform, as you're getting started and you want to know how to do something, or maybe something's not working the way that you expected, or you're not sure if the platform does something, jotform.com/contact is how you can get in touch with our 24/7 online support. Again, they're typically responsive within an hour, and they are extremely well versed in the platform, and they're going to help you figure out pretty much anything you need to do within Jotform. All right, let me get switched over back to my forms and we can jump into our Q&A.